Greetings. My name is Mark Amato Pinkham, and I'm the director of the Order and Mystery School of the Seven Rays. I'll be your host during this two-part presentation on the Gnostic conspiracy and the coming Gnostic civilization. We in the Order and Mystery School of the Seven Rays are dedicated to bringing you complete and easy to understand video presentations such as this one that as accurately as possible reveal the true history of the human race, much or most of which has been hidden. If you would like to be alerted of any new videos we produce, please click on the subscribe button below. Now, in this video, I will first give you a brief explanation of Gnosis and how to achieve it. I will then describe what a Gnostic civilization is, and then I will end with a conspiracy, a Gnostic conspiracy that began in the 9th century to create a one-world Gnostic civilization and has continued down to the present time. Most of this information is contained in my book, which is at the lower right side of your screen, World Gnosis, The Coming Gnostic Civilization Revised and Expanded Edition. So I'll start with the question, what exactly is Gnosis? Well, simply stated, Gnosis is wisdom that's not dependent on external information and spontaneously manifests within a person as their intuition. Let's say a modern example of Gnostic revelation is the aha moment that a genius has when a problem is solved or a new invention comes into being within their mind. The most evolved or highest gnosis a human can aspire to is self-knowledge, the knowledge of the not lower self, but the higher self. And this is accompanied with the inner intuitive revelation that God exists within me as me. Now, how is Gnosis achieved? Well, Gnosis is achieved from balancing and uniting the male-female polarity that exists in the body. Gnosis is achieved by activating what's known as the Ajna chakra, or the third eye of wisdom. The two petals of this chakra are the two brain hemispheres. When the chakra is activated, the hemispheres unite and they synchronize in their signals. Then left brain intellect unites with right brain intuition to produce Gnostic consciousness. And the achievement of Gnosis is part of the Gnostic alchemical path, or what's called the left-hand path, also the goddess tradition. And this path also involves and culminates in the activation of Kundalini, the alchemical force at the base of the spine that is the union of the inner male and female polarity. Once awakened, Kundalini evolves us to the highest and final stages of Gnosis, which is God realization. Now, as mentioned in the previous slide, Gnosis occurs when the brain hemispheres synchronize. This occurs through polarity union brought about through the practices of the Gnostic alchemical path. When the polarity unites in the body, it also produces a high frequency life force, or prana, that travels to the base of the spine and activates the dormant evolutionary force of Kundalini that exists there. The activated Kundalini then moves throughout the physical, etheric, emotional, and mental bodies of a person to purify them, while also rising up the spine to activate the chakras and which will further develop Gnostic awareness. When the Kundalini reaches the 7th Sahasrara chakra, a person then achieves God realization, which is the realization that God exists within me as me. Now I'll speak about what constitutes a Gnostic civilization. All facets of a Gnostic civilization, all the organizations and institutions, they're all designed to balance and unite the polarity within each citizen of that Gnostic civilization, and thereby help them to achieve Gnostic consciousness and ultimately God realization. Polarity balance leading to Gnosis is found at all levels and within all institutions of society, of a Gnostic society. The members of a Gnostic civilization adhere to the path of the Tao, which is the symbol of it is there on your screen. This is the way of balance, and they adhere to it in all their actions and activities. The path of the Tao participates a balance between the male, female, yin-yang, universal polarity. When the inner polarity becomes balanced, it unites to activate Kundalini and to produce Gnostic consciousness. So now I will present some of the elements, some of the important elements of a Gnostic civilization. First, I will talk about religion in a Gnostic civilization. There must be a balance between patriarchal religion, which is also known as the right-hand path, with matriarchal spirituality, which is also known as the Gnostic alchemical path and the left-hand path. So within a Gnostic civilization, there must be a balance between those two. The right-hand path trains a person to understand, honor, and respect the natural laws of God. It also gives them both discrimination and discipline. The left-hand path utilizes the practices of the Gnostic alchemical path that unite the inner polarity and activate the alchemical force of Kundalini. Through the left-hand path, a person discovers and becomes one with God within themselves, and thereby completes their evolution in a human body. Now, both paths are recognized as necessary in the achievement of Gnosis within a Gnostic civilization. Typically, the right-hand path is followed first to give a person a good foundation and understanding of universal principles. Then they proceed on to the left-hand path to achieve God realization. Education in a Gnostic civilization. Education should be a balance of left and right brain subjects. There should be a good balance between those subjects that engage the left brain and the intellect, and those that engage the right brain and promote intuitive and creative ideas. With a balanced curriculum, students will eventually engage both hemispheres of the brain in all their studies. Government in a Gnostic civilization should be a balance of the female, which is we the people, the female legislative branch of government, and the male executive branch, which is my law. So the female is all of us, we the people, the common voice of all of us, and the executive branch is the president, and it's my voice, it's my law. So it's the female and the male manifesting as the legislative branch and the executive branch. And there should be a balance of males and females in all branches and levels of government. And there should be a balance of conservative male political parties and liberal female political parties. And the lawmakers and those occupying the highest offices of government in a Gnostic civilization should be persons who have either achieved Gnosis or on the path to doing so, or they should have achieved a good inner male-female balance. Otherwise, they will not be able to adequately make and enforce the laws that will lead their constituents on the path to Gnosis. Architecture. The temples, public buildings, and residences of a Gnostic civilization should be energy conductive structures that unite the polarity and are aligned with and channel the Earth's own spiraling energy flow. When energy efficiently moves within these structures, it will also naturally flow within the bodies of those people inhabiting them. They will then be emotionally relaxed and peaceful, and the inner evolutionary force of Kundalini can then move through their bodies to transform them spiritually. To align with the Earth's spiraling energy flow, a structure should incorporate the golden mean proportion into its dimensions. This measurement is derived from uniting, or shall we say dividing, the number of the male principle, which is 666, into 1080, which is the number associated with the female principle. The result is phi, 1.61. This is the proportion that both generates the spiraling life force inside a building, as well as keeping it aligned with the flow of the Earth's own energy field. Gnostic civilizations of the past include both pure Gnostic civilizations, what I call neo-Gnostic civilizations. The pure Gnostic civilizations include Lemuria, the primeval goddess civilization, also the civilization of the Mandeans, the Jewish Essenes, the Cathars, and also the Manichaeans. Neo-Gnostic civilizations include the Yazidis, the Tibetans, the Egyptians, the Chinese, the Hindus, and the ancient Atlanteans. The idealized goal of all these Gnostic and neo-Gnostic civilizations was the same, which was Gnosis and union with God. And most of the pure Gnostic civilizations sought to create a balance and equality in all levels of their society. The neo-Gnostic civilizations, however, although they were initially pure Gnostic civilizations, they adopted a caste system that was designed to assist the evolution of incarnating souls. But later on, these caste systems created a separation within these Gnostic societies, and that engendered discrimination and oppression and hate amongst the people. And now I will cover the most recent worldwide conspiracy to create a Gnostic civilization that actually still continues. The visionary Sufi master who first proposed a crusade to create a one-world Gnostic civilization was Abdullah ibn Maymun in the 10th century, or 9th century, actually. Maymun was born in Persia and brought up during the heyday of the Sufi mystery schools, which were a synthesis of Gnostic and alchemical wisdom that the Muslims had acquired in India, Egypt, Greece, and other countries. Maymun produced his own mystery sect known as the Batinis, which was founded with 7 levels of advancement and became a model for many future Sufi mystery schools. Maymun's goal was to start a movement for the creation of a universal spirituality and a worldwide Gnostic civilization. But unfortunately, violence was used to spread the teachings of the Batinis, and this brought a quick end to Maymun's aspirations. The basic principles of Maymun's mystery tradition and his movement to create a worldwide Gnostic civilization were both soon adopted in the 11th century by the Dar-ul Himant, which translated as the House of Wisdom. It was a mystery school in Cairo, which became the premier training grounds for Sufis from around Asia who had aspirations to create mystery schools in their own lands. The House of Wisdom adopted Maymun's 7 levels of mystical advancement, to which they added 2 more degrees to make 9 degrees. Those Sufis who founded their own mystery schools after graduating from the House of Wisdom adopted many of Maymun's degrees. But to their detriment, they also adopted the predilection for violence that had accompanied them. One such Sufi graduate, well known, one graduate from the House of Wisdom was Hassani Saba, the founder of the Persian Order of Assassins. Hassani Saba was famous for letting loose assassins on unsuspecting political figures that got in his way of creating a Gnostic empire. His headquarters, which is the picture of it on the left side of your screen, it was a castle very high up in the Alborz Mountains of Persia. Another Sufi associated with the House of Wisdom was Bayezid Ansari, founder of the Roshania, the Illuminated Ones, which was a sect that spread throughout the mountains of Afghanistan during the 16th century. In creating the Roshania, Bayezid reduced the 9 degrees of the House of Wisdom to 8, while also adopting the far-reaching planetary goals of Maymun. His vision was to produce an army of enlightened Gnostics around the globe who were willing to sacrifice themselves in service to what he called a supreme power that both ruled over the world and dwelled within all people. But again, violence and revolution brought an end to this movement. Soon after the demise of the Roshania, the Gnostic mysteries of the Illumined Ones were adopted by the European Illuminati, which is a Gnostic order that embraced the Roshania's 8 levels of advancement, as well as its campaign for a one-world spirituality through planetary upheaval and revolution. Now, the list of the 8 respective levels that initiate pass-through within both the Illuminati and Roshania are nearly identical. Now, according to historical speculation, Weishaupt, the founder of the Illuminati, was initiated and trained by a Gnostic adept who had spent years in Egypt studying the mystical traditions of the House of Wisdom. In 1776, Weishaupt founded the Illuminati, which, like a Sufi mystery school, was a synthesis of Persian Gnosticism and alchemy, along with Egyptian, Greek, Manichaean, and also Freemasonry influences. Since the movement to create a one-world Gnostic civilization had originated with and developed among the Persian Sufis, the Persian influence was most salient and foundational in Weishaupt's Illuminati. Weishaupt adopted both the Persian calendar as well as the floppy hat of the Persian savior Mithras, which became the Illuminati's most recognizable symbol. Weishaupt also aligned his order with the Knights Templar, for whom he sought vengeance for because of the way they brought down the French monarchy, or were brought down by the French monarchy and the Pope. Besides helping to catalyze the French Revolution, Weishaupt took the name Spartacus because, like the famous Roman warrior, He was dedicated to freeing the slaves, which for him were the oppressed masses of this world. He was dedicated to freeing them from the oppression of all monarchies and religious powers. Ultimately, his desire to shake off the yoke of authority would include not only governments and organized religion, but also even the institution of marriage and even family. His vision for a full-on socialist society where everything was jointly owned and decided. So this was ultimately going to be his vision, a full-on socialist / communist society. Now, to orchestrate an official union between the Illuminati and Freemasonry, because of course, Weishaupt realized that it would be a great boon to his organization if he could combine it with Freemasonry. So to do this, he set about organizing the Congress of Wilhelmsbad at the castle of William IX of Hesse-Kassel. And this was to occur on July 16th, 1782. Now, since Weishaupt also needed the financial support of the Jewish bankers for his revolutions, for the first time in their history at Wilhelmsbad, the Jews were granted admittance into Freemasonry. The motif you'll see at the lower right of your screen represents the union of Freemasonry and the Illuminati that occurred during this Congress. Now, the French Revolution was well supported by the Illuminati, Freemasons, and the Jewish financiers of the Illuminati. With cries of vengeance for the Templars, frenzied revolutionaries wearing the Persian floppy hat of the Illuminati decisively destroyed the wealthy and powerful French elite in Paris. Then the Jews of the Illuminati turned their attention to Russia. The Jews, who were the world's premier disenfranchised race, decided it was time to manifest their prophesied Zion, which is the name for the world when it was to be ruled by the chosen people of Yahweh. To do so, they decided to catalyze the Russian Revolution and then make the entire world a socialist communist state that they could govern. The Bolshevik leader of the revolution, Lenin, whose ancestors had been Jewish on both sides of the family, then contributed to their plan for a centralized government that could be controlled by a Jewish oligarchy. After Lenin and his Illuminati cohorts raised their victory flags at the end of the Russian Revolution, their new communist government quickly emerged, with Jews occupying at least 75% of the highest positions. Zion had been won, but not for long. Following the sudden death of Lenin, the Jewish hopeful Trotsky was soundly defeated by Stalin, who was a Christian. And then Stalin the dictator, murdered all those Jews who stood in the way of his new policies. Now, while these revolutions were occurring in Europe and Asia, in the Americas, the movement for a worldwide Gnostic civilization was kindled by the creation of the USA. To assist the founding fathers in the creation of their new Atlantis, as it was called, members of the Illuminati and other secret orders in Europe either traveled to the US or met US diplomats that arrived on their continent. One of these was Ben Franklin, who spent 9 years as a diplomat in France, during which time he is believed to have been initiated into the Illuminati. The Illuminati, no doubt, invited Franklin to many of their large-scale meetings that they were having in Paris at the time that included high-ranking members of European secret societies. Franklin's association with secret societies dates back many years before his journey to France. He became a Mason in 1731 at the young age of 17 when he was initiated into the Philadelphia Masonic Lodge. And then within a few short years, he became Grand Master of all of Pennsylvania. Later, when he joined the Lodge of Nine Sisters in France in 1778, his esoteric wisdom was recognized, and he advanced quickly to become Venerable Master of the Lodge of Nine Sisters, a position he served within from 1779 to 1781. Having been born Christian and then become a high-ranking member of the secret societies of the left-hand path, Franklin became a model of a U.S. statesman who was the perfect balance of left and right-hand paths. Another founding father that exemplified the union of the polarity was George Washington. George Washington was a Christian who then later became a Master Mason as well as a member of the Rosicrucians. Through the U.S. Constitution, the founding fathers sought to lay the foundation for a future Gnostic civilization. The trinity of the three branches of government they set forth in the document was the legislative branch that represented the female democratic principle of we the people, which was designed to balance the male executive authoritative branch of the president. The third judicial branch of government served as a mediator to balance the other two. The male-female nature of the executive and legislative branches was represented by Lady Liberty, who graced the summit of the Capitol building, as well, along with the phallus-shaped Washington Monument that was directly in front of the White House. Now I will present the prophecies regarding the coming worldwide Gnostic civilization. We are currently on the cusp of the 2000-year Aquarian Age and the fifth world that is prophesied by the Native Americans. During these coming ages, humanity is predicted to come together as a one world family with a synthesized, homogeneous culture that includes the union of the left and right-handed paths. There will be the universal understanding that self-awareness and Gnostic consciousness are at the pinnacle of human evolution, and our planetary civilizations will be designed to reflect this. The fifth world prophecy maintains that the star people who came to Earth in ancient times to teach and mate with humans will be returning to reconnect with their relatives. A rock face with the image of a starship engraved on it on Hopi Reservation predicts this event. Since the Hopis are themselves descended from the Pleiadians, the image especially points to the return of our star brothers and sisters from the seven sisters. The Pleiadian king of the world is also scheduled to return, or at least his guiding etheric presence will once again be known by the Earth's masses. This slide shows the form of the Pleiadian king in many civilizations around the globe. The Aztecs say that he actually takes 1,001 names and forms. So you see in this slide, you see him as Kartikeya of the Hindus. You see him as Enki, as the peacock angel, Melchizedek, Dionysus, Osiris, and Masao in your lower right corner of the screen is the Lord of the world amongst the Hopis. The king of the world's return has already begun. Part of the beginning has been the discovery of his court and throne in the very center of the huge 50-mile diameter vortex of Sedona, Arizona, which is the root chakra of Earth. Assisting in the coming transition is the Pleiadian avatar, Mata Amritananda Mai, who was born with her birth star in Kritika, the sign of the Pleiades. She follows many other Pleiadian avatars that have come at the beginning of long cycles of time to uplift Earth and humanity. These include Sri Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, and John the Baptist. And as I mentioned in part 1 of the series, we on Earth have a special connection to the Pleiadians, since according to the Maya, our sun is the 8th star of the Pleiades asterism. Many of us have also made a connection to the Pleiades by spending time there when we first entered the physical universe through a portal that links the Pleiades to a higher etheric universe that the Gnostics call the Pleroma. This was our home, and this is where we came from. So we are all Pleiadians, and the star people of the Seven Sisters are our relatives. They have been coming to Earth since the creation of humanity to assist us, their brothers and sisters, in knowing and realizing our divinity. Now, to conclude this video, I would like to mention our order, which is the Order of the Seven Rays. The Seven Rays was founded by the ancient Pleiadian missionary that became the king of the world in order to have an organization to disseminate and guard his teachings of the Gnostic alchemical path. On our website, we have books and videos and courses containing the Gnostic alchemical path that the star missionary, known as Sanat Kumara and the Peacock Angel, Melchizedek, and so forth, they contained the teachings of this master, that this master brought to Earth to enlighten humanity to its divinity. Please visit our website to see what we offer, and you'll also find there how you yourself can become a member of the Order of Seven Rays if you do indeed feel drawn to do so. One of the books featured on our website is World Gnosis, the Coming Gnostic Civilization, the revised and expanded edition. I mentioned this book at the beginning of this video as containing most of the information in this one, this part 2, and also part 1 of this video presentation. This book can be purchased in the bookstore of our website. Also featured on our website are tours in Sedona that will be led by me to the remaining vestiges of Palatquapi, which is the ancient city that was built by the star people Pleiadians that Sedona currently sits upon. During the tour, you'll also be shown the location of the court and throne of the Palladian king of the world. There is a page on our website to register for a tour if you feel drawn to doing so. Thank you so much for watching this video presentation, two-part presentation. And please consider watching more of our videos that are featured on YouTube. And please also click the button to show that you have watched this video and you would like to watch more, and you can be on our list and be alerted of new videos. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching. Namaste.